Imagine you are a young woman imprisoned by Nazis in a concentration camp. You miraculously escape from the horrid place, but you are desperate to save the others that still remained in prison. So you turn to otherworldly help. Through a seance, you try to summon a good spirit to help stop the Nazis, but instead, a demonic spirit is released into the living world. All hell breaks loose. Panicking, you do what you can to stop it. You grab the nearest object, a wine cabinet, and trap it inside. In order to be sure it never escapes, you take it with you wherever you go. That is, until your death. Then, all hell breaks loose.
Sometimes our world is full of mystifying, baffling events and entities that defy what we know to be true as human beings. To explain these activities that are beyond our normal comprehension, humans create legends, myths, and lore to try to make sense of them. I'm Katie Decker.
And I'm Sam Tete. We're sisters. Our dad, Dave,
Hello there.
is a paranormal legend enthusiast who has an expansive knowledge about events, places, and cryptids. Join us as we test our dad's paranormal knowledge and explore some of the world's most unexplainable legends, myths, and lore.
Welcome to Legend Has It with Dad.
Dad, do you know what we're talking about today?
Not the Dybbuk thing.
Yep, it is.
We talked about this already, right?
Well,
About the
The
full
Dybbuk
story.
box. And somebody
yeah.
at work said Dybbuk. We were saying Dybbuk wrong. We were
Yeah.
saying
Because I
not-
said
We
the
talked
last
about
episode, I
Dybbuk
said
box in our last episode.
yeah,
yes,
like-
and I think I pronounced it as Dybbuk or something.
yeah,
Box.
Dybbuk.
Yeah. Dybbuk.
Dybbuk.
Yes,
Right?
it's Jewish.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Dybbuk.
Dybbuk
Yeah.
box.
yep. Oh,
So yeah.
Okay.
Also, welcome to spooky season. We
Yes.
have some good episodes in store for the month of October.
So we're talking about the most haunted, or the most scary, or the scariest
Mm-hmm.
in the world things.
Yes, and it's very, very
That's kind of
scary.
Halloween stuff.
Ooh.
Cute, eerie music. So today is the world's most haunted object, the Dybbuk box. As Katie said in the intro, the box was supposedly created during World War II by a Polish woman named Havala in an effort to stop the Nazis. Havala lived until she was 103 years old. After her passing, her granddaughter sold the wine cabinet to a man, and the rest is history. But before we get into it, let's talk about what Dybbuk is. In Jewish folklore, Dybbuk is a demonic spirit who can possess the living. Some believe that they may be ghosts of humans stuck in limbo. The word Dybbuk literally translates to cling or attach. There are myths of Dybbuks both attaching themselves to people in order to complete some unfinished business, and there's others that just torment the living. There are even references to them in the Bible. In the book of Samuel, King Saul was possessed and tormented by a Dybbuk.
Okay, so we also have to remember that back in the day, many times when people suffered mental illnesses like depression or psychosis, they just chalked it up to being possessed
Mm.
and then performed an exorcist on them, on the affected individual, like easy peasy, problem solved. So
Yeah.
a lot of the old stories of possessions we have to take with a grain of salt, because some of
Yeah.
them could have just been mental illness,
Yep.
or a lot of them probably were.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But Dybbuks are also said to be able to attach to objects, which brings us to our story now. In 2001, a man named Kevin Manis attended a estate sale of a 103-year-old Holocaust survivor who had recently passed away in Portland, Oregon. The granddaughter of the woman explained to him that she was able to escape the Nazi prison and fled to Spain and later immigrated to the United States and only brought 3 items with her: a steamer trunk, a sewing box, and a wine cabinet that she had acquired in Spain.
So he purchased the wine cabinet, the sewing box, and some other furniture. On his way out, the granddaughter noticed that he had the box. She explained to him that her grandmother had called it a Dybbuk box and always kept it closed and out of reach, warning her granddaughter that it is never to be opened. When she asked what it had in it, she said a Dybbuk and a Kesselim. Side note, obviously we know what a Dybbuk is, but after relentless Googling, we couldn't find the meaning of Kesselim. This information was taken verbatim from the original eBay posting that Kevin Mannis wrote, so we don't know if he didn't know how to spell the word that the granddaughter had used or what the deal was with that. He added a note to the posting later that he did not know what the word meant.
Misspellation.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing we could find that was the same spelling, Kesselim, was the Turkish word that translated to cut in English. So that's a mystery.
Yeah, that one's. But I also found that it kind of closely looks like the Hebrew word for priest. But then I also was like on this WordPress blog, and it was connected to this other word, and I was trying to Google the other word, and there was like no evidence of this other word anywhere. So I was like, I don't know if this WordPress is
interesting.
Right. If I didn't include it in the
that's
story,
interesting.
Yeah, it was weird.
Okay, let's get back to the story.
Mannis asked what those were, but she did not know. She did warn him to never open the cabinet. Her grandmother had requested to be buried with the box, but the request was denied due to the rules of Orthodox Jewish burials. He offered to give it back to her as it seemed like an heirloom that should remain in the family, but she refused. He objected and said that he didn't need his money back and thought that she should really keep it. But she had an odd reaction to his kind gesture and became extremely irritated and said, "You bought it, you made a deal," and then proceeded to yell that they did not want the box, began to cry, and asked him to leave the property. He wrote the whole odd experience off as grief, and then he took the cabinet back to his furniture store and put it in his basement shop where he intended to refurbish it to give it as a gift to his mother. After he dropped it off, he went on a run for some errands, when only in half an hour later, he received a call from his sales employee, which she was crying hysterically, and she said an intruder had entered the store and was breaking glass and swearing. They had also locked the iron security gates, so she was unable to escape. When he arrived back to the store, he found that the gates were locked. After getting inside, he found the young saleswoman crying and terrified in his office. She said the intruder was in the basement. He ran to the basement and was instantly hit by the smell of cat urine. He did not own any cats or have any in the shop. He found that the lights did not work because all the bulbs had been broken, and then he did not find any intruders. It would have been impossible for anyone to come out of the basement without being seen because there was only one entrance. So he didn't think that anyone was down there. He went to speak with the employee, but she had already left and never came back to work.
She was like, I'm out of here.
I remember that report. It was on the show. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been on a few shows.
Yeah. So Mannis didn't think anything of the cabinet when it came to the intrusion at the store until 2 weeks later when he began refurbishing the cabinet to give to his mother. He opened the cabinet, and inside he found one 1928 and one 1925 U.S. wheat penny, a lock of blonde hair, a lock of black and brown hair, a small granite statue with an engraved Hebrew spelling of shalom, one dried rosebud, a golden wine glass, and an odd black cast iron candle holder with octopus legs.
Really?
After opening it, he decided not to refurbish it and left it as it was. But he still decided to give it to her? Like, I don't know.
Well, like, he opened it too. Like, why in the hell would you open that thing?
Yeah.
Isn't it sealed with wax or something like that? A seal?
No. He said there was no seal on it, but the mechanism that opens it was odd. Like, he'd never seen anything like it before.
Oh.
But it wasn't like spring-loaded or anything. It was just kind of like an odd style of door hatch.
Wow.
Like once you opened it, all the other stuff opened. There's like 3 doors inside.
Oh, wow.
And they all opened at the same time.
Weird. So on October 31st, 2001, Halloween, he gave the cabinet to his mother for her birthday gift at his shop during lunch. He ran out of the office to take a phone call, and after about 5 minutes, one of the employees came to find him, stating that something was wrong with his mother. Manus found his mother unresponsive, with tears streaming down her cheeks. He tried to get her to respond, but she couldn't talk. She had suffered a stroke. In the hospital the next day, he went to check on her and asked her how she was doing. She was still unable to speak, but could communicate by pointing at letters. She first spelled out, quote, "no gift." Confused, he said that he did get her a gift for her birthday and asked if she remembered getting the wine cabinet yesterday. She became upset with tears in her eyes, and she spelled out, quote, "hate gift." Still, he thought nothing of it. He laughed and said that he could get her something else if she didn't like the cabinet and not to worry.
I just don't understand. Like, she's obviously upset. She's like crying.
Yeah, she's crying, and he's like,
why would she care about a gift that she hated?
Yeah.
If she just had a stroke. Like, okay, you don't like something, you're not going to say something. Like, who cares?
Well,
that's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she was obviously upset about the gift.
Yeah, like that was what she was trying to say, what made her the way she is now.
Yeah. She knew it was bad.
Yeah. So he gave the cabinet to his sister, who then gave it back a week later. She claimed that the doors would not stay shut, and which was odd because there was no spring mechanism, like I said earlier. Mm-hmm. So, like, they had really no reason to open on their own. Then Manus gave it to his brother and his sister-in-law, who then gave it back only 3 days later, claiming it smelled of jasmine flowers and cat urine.
Yeah.
Such a weird combo.
Gave it to his, I know.
Really. Better than
then
Bigfoot
he gave it to
urine.
his then girlfriend. So then he gave it to his girlfriend. Like, why would you keep giving this to me?
Yeah.
But anyway, he gave it to his girlfriend.
No one likes it.
It's like the Christmas gift that nobody wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The jar of spam.
Spam. So he gave it to his girlfriend, and then 2 days later, she asked him to sell it. So then he sold it in the store to a middle-aged couple. But then only 3 days later, he found the cabinet sitting back outside the store with a note on it that said, "This has bad darkness." Mm-hmm. And still, he did not think anything of it and took it home.
This guy needs to get a clue.
Stupid.
Jeez. He's a doo-doo.
So that night that he took it home, he started having these reoccurring nightmares where he was walking next to a friend, but he noticed something weird in their eyes. He thought they were had evil eyes.
Black
The friend
eyes.
then morphed into a demonic old hag. Then, quote, "beat the living tar out of me."
Whoa.
That's what he said.
It's not very nice.
When he would wake up, he would find bruises where he had been hit in his dreams. At this point, he still does not think anything of the cabinet in his dreams or the other strange events and happenings. 1 month later, his brother and sister came to stay at the house for the weekend. In the morning, after a restful night's sleep, just kidding, it was not restful at all. His sister started describing a creepy nightmare that she had about a friend who turned into a hag who beat her. Then her brother and wife froze and claimed to have each had the same dream. After they all realized that they had the same reoccurring dream multiple times, they finally connected it to the time when the cabinet had been in their respective homes.
Connect
Freaking
forward.
dummies.
Hello.
I'm sure it wasn't Manus who connected that.
Yeah.
He said he had hairs on the back of his neck stand up when they started talking about it. He called his girlfriend, who also had the box, and she confirmed that she had also been having the reoccurring nightmare with the exact same description as the others, and it also aligned with the timing of when she had the cabinet.
That is bizarre and creepy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So after the realization, Things escalated for Manus. He and visitors who came to his house started seeing shadowy things in their peripheral vision. He put the cabinet in his outdoor storage unit, but that night he was awoken by smoke alarms going off out there. When he opened the door, there was no smoke, but there was a potent smell of cat urine.
Yo,
What is with it with that box and cat urine? Like,
must
I
be a
don't know.
that's
cougar.
probably the nastiest smell. Like,
It's a cougar box. I don't know.
he brought the cabinet inside to investigate. He started looking online but fell asleep when he had the nightmare again, and this time he was startled awake by the feeling and smell of someone breathing on his neck. He smelled jasmine and turned to see a huge shadow figure walking down the hall away from him. So, like all decent human beings, he posted it for sale on eBay in 2003, claiming that he did not want to destroy it because he didn't know how it would react. And apparently, there's a ton of paranormal object experts on eBay.
Sure.
The auction, the auction posting went kind of viral, and Manus had a ton of emails about it. He edited the posting, adding a few stipulations, one being at the quote, at the end of the auction, I have decided to take an opportunity to speak with the winning bidder for two reasons. A, to make sure that the winning bidder is a serious adult who has employed some valid reasoning skills in making the decision to accept whatever this is. I will not be judgmental. Do whatever you want or need after the sale. And B, to offer full details of the events that have transpired. After I have carried out these responsibilities and upon payment, I have the cabinet and its contents delivered by U.S. mail, FedEx, or UPS to the winning bidder. At that point, I will have no further involvement with the matter in any way, shape, or form, period. End quote. And later added an update that he thought the stuff was calming down in the house, only to find all 10 of his fish dead in his aquarium. Somebody forgot to feed him.
Yeah. You can't put salt in with the fish. They don't like it. It's not salt water, it's fresh water.
Okay, so then the winning and accepted bidder of Manus's eBay auction was a Truman State College student named Lofus Nutsky. A college student, super expert in paranormal things. He brought the cabinet to his college house where he had multiple roommates. I think he said he had 6 roommates, who had no clue initially what he was bringing into the house. Lofus and his roommates also experienced strange events. He claimed that he bought the box out of skeptic curiosity. He didn't initially believe that the cabinet was causing the odd happenings. He received the cabinet in August, and him and his roommates decided to take turns sleeping with the cabinet in their rooms. 2 people started complaining of burning eyes. One was depleted of energy. Another complained of a sudden illness that Lofus thought might have just been allergies in hindsight. And then after a few days of these weird symptoms, their house for a few hours was filled with a ton of small bugs. And then the box seemed to open on its own. It was like in a spot that no one would really touch it, like back off by itself, and it would just be open randomly. In September, they claimed to have, quote, a tidal wave of bad luck. The house smelled strange and would not go away. The dumpster in their backyard was overflowed and rotting, which, like, I don't know how that's good. Why wouldn't you
dead
call
pumpkins,
someone to take care of that?
Yeah, like
Yeah. The one roommate got bronchitis, and Lofus broke his finger. Several mice were found dead in one of their car engines, and then electronics like Xboxes and toasters kept dying. I am going to read verbatim from Lofus's eBay listing that he posted in 2004. Yeah, 2004. Verbatim here. So this is what it says. I don't really want to talk about anything between September and January, so I'll just say that I'm selling this box now for a couple of reasons. 1, around October 6th, I started feeling bad, trouble sleeping. This problem persists through today. Number 2, I live alone now, and as of late, I have noticed replacing a lot of burnt out light bulbs and getting many unusual car repairs. Transmission fluid was burned out of the reservoir. Number 3, I've started seeing things sort of like vertical dark blurs in my peripheral vision. Number 4, I smell something like juniper bushes or stinging ammonia, probably jasmine
Cat
and
urine.
caffeine, in my garage often, and I have no idea what from. And number 5, most disturbingly, last Tuesday, 1/27/2004. Okay, so he posted this in 2004. Did I say 2004 or
Yeah.
2003?
4.
Okay. So last Tuesday, 1/27/2004, my hair began to fall out. Today, Friday, it is almost half gone. I'm in my early 20s. I just got a clean blood test back from my doctors. Maybe it's stress related. I don't know. Anyhow, for personal reasons, I very strongly do not want this box anymore. I hope there's someone on eBay that will take this thing off my hands. I would just throw it away in the woods or something, but I don't know. There has been some interest in the past.
Take it and put it in water like a Ouija board. You're supposed to.
He is
soak
no
it in
longer
water.
a skeptic, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
After that, the box was bought by Jason Haxon, who was the director of an osteopathic medicine museum in Missouri. He had an interest in antiques, especially those which had unique pasts. Haxon and his wife experienced the same strange events as previous owners, including the strange reoccurring dream of the demonic hag and shadow figures. But he also experienced a strange illness that made him break out in hives and welts all over his body, and he was coughing up blood. After being fed up with the events, he took it to paranormal and religious experts to have it investigated and resealed. That was probably a smart decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The box was resealed in an acacia wood ark lined with 24 karat gold and put into a military-grade shock-proof container buried somewhere where it is well hidden and wouldn't be discovered. Haxon ended up doing a ton of research on the box in Dybbuk. He ended up writing a book called The Dybbuk Box and owns the Dybbukbox.com, where you can see photos and some of the evidence he has about the box, including events that happened when they were keeping this box in a storage shed, like a 100-year-old tree falling on the building, and a strange mold that completely encapsulated and killed spiders in the building.
Oh, it's probably
Bottle
a good
some of
thing.
that up.
I forgot to add this, but he also said that he was like coughing up all the blood, and after he got rid of the box, after they resealed it, he was in the shower and he started coughing, and he just coughed up like this crud.
Ew.
And he like just continuously kept coughing all this weird crud up.
That's disgusting.
Kind of like Poltergeist, where that thing came out of that guy's throat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, remember?
Gross. Or like Stranger
Yeah.
Things.
Yeah, that too.
In 2017, Haxon found a worthy buyer of the supposedly cursed object, Zach Baggins of the Ghost Adventures.
Yep.
Baggins, whatever. Zach Baggins of the Ghost Adventures, who now keeps the cabinet in his haunted museum in Las Vegas. The cabinet is not openly available for the public to view, but if you would like to view it, you can sign a waiver releasing Baggins.
Yeah, Baggins. Yep.
Okay. From any liability of events that happen after you see the box. And then you can see the box, which is kept behind a special glass case. We mentioned this last week in our current news episode, but in 2018, our beloved Post Malone visited the museum, and Zach opened the box for the first time with Post Malone. While opening the box, Post went to touch Zach to tell him that he thought it was a bad idea. He had like a weird feeling. he went to tell him, like, hey, man, I don't think this is a good idea. And then apparently, just by touching Zach, who was touching the box, he was cursed. So Post experienced a long list of unfortunate events after this. A few days after the box incident, he was in flight and 2 of their tires just blew off of the plane.
And when he fell on the stage.
Luckily, the pilot...
Well, that was like...
Yeah, he fell
that
on
was
stage.
like years later, but...
Yeah, but...
Yeah. Luckily, his pilot was able to safely land the plane. And then a week after that, his house was broken into by armed robbers who were actually looking for Post Malone. He was not home at the time, but one of his people were there, and they were pistol whipped and injured. But they think that if he would have been home, he probably would have been killed. And then a week after that, he was in a really bad car accident where his Rolls Royce was T-boned, and it was like a deadly car accident, or could have been deadly.
Yeah.
And then there have been multiple things that happened kind of after that since 2020. But he has been, like, recently, he's been hospitalized for breathing issues and, like, stabbing weird pains and stuff in his side.
I wonder if I'm sure if he had those dreams, he would have said it because he was open about talking about everything else.
He's pretty cool.
Well, it seemed like at first, like 2018, when it first happened, like all this stuff happened, he said, he didn't like say anything about the box, but he said that he tweeted, "God must hate me, LOL." And then some other people were tweeting like, at Post Malone, it has to be cursed because of this box, because there was a clip of him, like the whole thing that went down of him touching the box, or touching Zach, who was touching the box. And I think that's where it started, that Post Malone was cursed. And that's where I think in 2020, he said on the Seth Meyers show, he said that, oh yeah, I was cursed by this box.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he said it was all of that stuff happened within a month after touching secondhand touching the box.
Because the plane accident was like on their way. It was like after they left Las Vegas. They were going to France or somewhere. They were going to Europe somewhere.
I didn't know that. I like Post. He's pretty
also
cool.
on that Seth Meyers show, that interview, he talks about like how he saw a UFO and...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. He gets nuked too.
Yeah, Post Malone has some crazy...
he gets zooted out.
That's why he owns a house.
He has a bunker
in Utah, and has a 30-person bunker because he thinks that the government is going to end.
Yeah, he's one of those conspiracy...
It's going to be
he's a
prepper.
prepper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said in that same interview, he says Zach is definitely going to be one of the 30 people, because somebody has to fight off the demons when the apocalypse happens. That's what he said.
That's pretty good. That's funny.
Okay, so in more recent news about this story, in 2021, there was an article put on to, what website was this? Inputmag.com, inputmag.com. And it basically, so it like recapped everything. And then it added a new interview. The journalist interviewed Manus, the original writer of the first eBay article. So the journalist said that he just had a weird feeling that Manus wasn't being like straightforward. So he pushed him and he pushed him. He like called him on his supposed bullshit. And he said that, so Manus then came forward to this journalist and said that the whole thing was a fake story. So he said that he was a creative writer and a furniture salesman, and that he had fabricated the entire story to sell onto eBay. And then all this, the guy who wrote the book, what was his name? Haxon, who wrote the book, he, at the end of his book, claimed that, or he said he thought that this original story had been false, but he thought that he believed that the powers of the box were actually real because he experienced it himself. But he thought that Manus was actually the one that cursed the box.
His psychic powers or whatever.
Well, he thought that he like did some kind of something to it. What did he say? He called it a word. Let me look. I'm just looking it up here. He said that he did like a
seance.
Where was it? A Jewish, like seance thing, and it like cursed the box, which is why people who have the box now experience weird things.
Which I don't know. That could be true because this Manus guy was kind of a dingleberry, like.
But
but like coming out and saying that you're like maybe his mom had a stroke and he just like
was like, oh, let's say the box caused it.
Yeah,
let's say the box caused it. And then they also said that his employees were in on it, like the pieces of hair that were in the box, like one of the employees like said that oh yeah, that was my hair that was in the box. And like I don't know, like they were basically saying the whole thing was fabricated. So then Zach from Ghost Adventures came out after that article came out and said that, okay, he basically responded to the article and he said that he said, unfortunately, I see a lot of folks just posting a clickbait title when there's more that I need to share. I'm super intrigued by this. I was surprised to learn that after 20 years of doing countless interviews, TV shows, and working on a major motion picture film, which Kevin Manus did, he like was part of the film for the movie The Possession that they did based on the story. And then he was like in all these like mystery shows and stuff. So he came out saying that he made it all up. Even after he had his mother do an interview on a TV show after her stroke, admitting to the terrifying experience that she supposedly had with the box. And then he said that he found the timing very odd because they had a new show coming out like a week after the article was posted about the box on Discovery Plus. So they think that's why he was coming out then,
just to stay relevant or something. I don't know. I don't want to like see the box myself. So,
well, that video I saw of that guy on Paranormal Caught on Camera, he videotaped it and he it was messing with his stuff, like poltergeist type event. It opened doors and stuff. Once he broke the seal, which is weird,
Yeah. I think I could see it as what Haxon was saying about like Manus was the one that actually made it possessed.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like this whole story, obviously, it was like super creepy. Like reading it, all these experiences and stuff. Like it's a freaky story. Like it is a scary story for sure. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. Oh, and apparently during COVID 2020, Zach and his team quarantined with the box in the museum
for
their TV show.
Wow.
So I haven't watched that, but
that's interesting.
I'm sure it's on Discovery Plus.
Yeah.
I got a book. I bought these series of books. Bigfoot, Terror in the Woods, pretty good. By
that's cool.
W.J. Sheehan, pretty good. Short stories. Yeah.
All right, that is all for this episode of Legend Has It with Dad. We'd like to thank our listeners, and if you haven't already, please subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. It really helps us out. We upload a new episode almost every Monday.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Legend Has It with Dad, Facebook, and Twitter, and Reddit, and TikTok.
All of the things.
I don't think we're active on Twitter and Reddit.
No, we're not. But we're getting there. We're getting there.
Email us your story at legendhasitwithdad@gmail.com and we will read it during an episode of Legend
Thanks for listening.
Has It.
Bye.
Bye.
Keep looking up. See ya.